Welcome everybody. SF Live episode 112. First of all, let me wish you a happy new year. This is the first episode of 2021. We can all hope for a better year, and it looks like vaccine numbers are increasing. We're all good. Hopefully we can travel later at the end of this year and do more site visits, go to conferences, and meet face to face again. Can't wait for that to happen. I'm a bit socially desperate, if you want to call it that. Today we're going to be joined by David Kelley. He's the president and CEO of Chakana Copper. We've had David on a number of times in the past, but we're doing an Outlook series for 2021, and David is a client of ours, and we want to get the story out there, tell you guys what to expect for the next 3, 6, 12 months, lay out the catalysts, what's the company up to, what's happening in Peru. It's an election year, so we're going to talk with David about that. What is he seeing on the ground? Is that having effect, positive, negative? We're going to highlight all of that. We're going to talk about financials, and most importantly, we want to get to your questions. Use hashtag AskPeru for your questions, and it's an interactive format. We'll be checking Twitter here frequently to make sure that we get your questions in as well. And then again, follow us on YouTube, follow us on Twitter, hit the subscribe and like button, and follow us there, and leave a comment, and we'd appreciate to hear from you. Now, enough of my jabbering, and let's switch over to Mr. David Kelley. David, thanks for joining us again. We're back at the scene of the first crime here. You were our very first guest on SF Live. I'm back in the home office. People remember maybe the black wall behind me here, and the fancy LED lighting there behind me. And great for you to join us again. Happy New Year. I hope you're doing well.
I'm doing great, Kai. Thank you very much. Happy New Year to you.
Yeah, it's great to have you back on, and we got to talk about 2021. But before we do that, let's recap 2020 real quick. Let's spend 5 minutes or so on that. This is more of a longer format. This is not a breaking news special. Recap for us the last 12 months. What have you achieved? What has happened? You started drilling again, so that's the big news. But what have you learned?
Yeah, so 2020 for us, I mean, we were very fortunate to get a permit during the pandemic in July. It was the final part of a permit that had previously been awarded, and it was the initiation of activities part of that. It's the very last segment of the permitting process in Peru, and that had been the delay in the awarding of that, which allowed us to drill in the central part of the project where we're drilling now. And so that was a big breakthrough for us to get that permit. The government allowed exploration companies to restart their work programs, as long as they incorporated the COVID-19 work protocols, which we did. And so we started drilling in August 15th, and we drilled the first 2 targets, Paloma East and Paloma West, both new discoveries. We think they're actually linked together, and it's one large breccia system, but we've only got 20 holes in both of those. All those results have been reported. Very nice long runs of mineralization right from surface at Paloma East, a breccia pipe that's expanding at depth, and then some very, very high grades. In fact, some of the highest grades we've ever seen on the property at Paloma West, and so that's very, very exciting. We moved the drill rig from there over to Huancarama, and at the end of the year we had completed 14 drill holes. The guys took a break, and they're back on the property now. We're restarted drilling at Huancarama. We'll continue to drill there at Huancarama. So it was a very challenging year for everyone, but I am very thankful that we were able to get our drill program started, and the guys were able to operate that program safely, and so that was a real bright spot, I guess, for us, is to be able to have the results that we did.
Perfect. And then let's unpack that just a little bit. I want to just hone in on a couple of details here. And Paloma East and West, obviously drill results. What have you learned from it? And Paloma West, you put out some results December 16th. We haven't talked about those yet. What are you taking away from that? What do you need to do to get to the next level now?
Well, both the entire Paloma area is a ripe exploration target for us. I mean, we've got enough drilling on Paloma East and Paloma West. We know that infill drilling will take place there. That will be featured in the initial resource. But there's all this exploration potential around that area. We've got a geophysical anomaly that surrounds both of those breccia pipes, and anywhere inside that geophysical anomaly is really a high priority exploration area. So there's additional exploration drilling that needs to be done at Paloma, and then there's certainly infill drilling on the main pipes that we've identified to date. Both pipes right now are somewhat different. We get a much longer runs of mineralization. That's what I would call mid-grade, moderate grade, things that are around 1 to 1.5% copper equivalent. Whereas at Paloma West, we're getting very, very high grades. It's a smaller pipe in the initial top shallow depths that we've explored it so far. But as we've seen, as we drill deeper on the pipes do get bigger at depth, and we just, we need to go deeper on Paloma West, I think, to see that. We're already seeing that at Paloma East. So slightly different, but we do think they're related because they both sit on the edges of this very large geophysical feature.
Great, good stuff. And like, how many holes have you drilled in total? How many meters in 2020? How many holes have you reported from that?
We've reported 20 holes from Paloma East and Paloma West combined. It was, I think, 7 from Paloma East and 13 from 13 from Paloma West. And I think our total was right at about 6,300 meters, if I recall correctly. I've been running through so many different numbers recently, but that's part of the 15,000 meter drill program that we had fully budgeted in August when we started. We still have $3.5 million in the bank to finish off that 15,000 meters. We're well into target testing at Huancarama, and we'll continue doing that. It's a much larger breccia system. It's about 200 meters east to west at surface. So there's a lot of drilling there to figure out what's happening at Huancarama, but we're well into it at this point.
Gotcha. And you mentioned earlier 14 holes in the lab, I think, or at least 14 holes drilled on Huancarama already.
Yeah, so, that's right.
And
yeah.
So they're all in the lab, or what's the status on those?
They're all right now. All the samples that I've made it to the lab, and they come down in different stages as we have to do the logging and photographing and sampling of the core, cutting of the core, and then haul the samples down to the lab. So now we have all the samples in the lab, and I looked at our turnaround time starting in August through the end of the year. I think it was 41 batches of samples. Our average turnaround time was 15 days. Which is just really outstanding. Yeah, it really is, and it was a range of as fast as 6 days and as long as 29 days. It did ramp up at the end of the year. Turnaround time did slow down in December, and I know that a lot of people have seen that, experience it. But still, when I look at the average in 15 days over that entire period of time, that's really an outstanding performance on the lab.
Yeah, that's a great result. So we're pretty much due for more results any day now, I'm assuming.
Yeah. Absolutely. We'll have results out soon. First batch of results from Huancarama, and then there should be steady news as we continue to drill, into 2021.
Gotcha. So we got about 9,000 meters left to go in the Phase 3 program, if I'm not mistaken, if my math is correct, right? You got $3.5 million in the bank. How much did you pay per drill meter in 2020? And budget, I'm assuming, is going to be enough, as you said. So.
Yeah, our drill costs have been the same since the beginning. We're on the same fee schedule in the contract with AK Drilling. So, our direct drill costs are right at about 115. That's just looking at the invoicing that comes directly from AK Drilling. And then if you add everything up, all of our people, camp costs, food, everything, it's right at about $190 a meter. So really, really outstanding, rates. And that's all the drilling we've done has been HQ, which is the larger diameter drill core. It's much better for sampling and for geologic observations and logging and that type of thing. So we've really done well, I think, in containing our drill cost, and I'm real happy with the rates that we have.
Great. Let's slowly segue into 2021 and talk about what the plans are. But you mentioned you got $3.5 million in the bank. The drill program's fully budgeted for. Has it been paid for yet, or is that still coming out, the 9,000 meters out of the $3.5 million?
Yeah, no, that comes out progressively. Our burn rate's about 600,000 a month. That's all in. That's corporate. That's G&A. That's everything. So that's kind of where we stand financially, and we'll continue drilling. We do want to ramp up to a second rig here coming up soon, and that'll give us increased production. We get about 1,700 meters a month with a single drill rig. The drilling production has been excellent with these guys. They really know how to drill this property. property, and it really is fairly straightforward. The drilling is not that complicated. These are very young rocks. They haven't been faulted and deformed and broken up, so the drilling tends to be fairly straightforward, and these guys are really experts at it. So
Great. So 2021, Huancarama drilling. How many more holes do we have to go? 9,000 meters. How many holes is that? And you got 5 pressure pipes, right? How are you going to distribute that?
well, there are 5 breccia bodies, and we think that they connect, and that's where the drilling will come in. And we don't go into these things with an absolute formula. We have an approved budget for 15,000 meters, and you hope that that's enough to get the job done. But exploration is throwing you a curveball almost every single day. You drill one hole, and you think you got to figure it out. You drill another hole, and you don't, and then you go back to the drawing board and you drill some other holes. There are times when we go back and say we need some more platforms here, and so we do a modification to give us some drilling directions that we didn't have before, and that adds to the puzzle. So it's a very fluid program. We don't have a set number of drill holes that we will achieve. Based on the results we've gotten already at Paloma, we know there's a lot more drilling that needs to be done there, right? Those targets could have turned up dead, right? They could have turned up, with bad results, but they both turned out great. And we've got Huancarama results that'll be coming forward soon. So there's no straight formula. I like to just have enough drilling planned and budgeted so that you can at least understand what you're dealing with, and then once you get into it, you have to react to the results. And we already know that Paloma, for example, is a much bigger system than we anticipated, so lots more drilling that's going to be needed there, and most likely that'll happen with Huancarama as well.
Like, you're being guided obviously by the visuals, and you got the breccia pipes coming to surface, so it makes targeting fairly easy for an amateur or novice. But like, what's your hit rate on drilling?
That's a great question. I actually wanted to go back through the very initiation of drilling in 2017 and look at our hit rate. But I mean, there have been very few drill holes, and I think we're up to 152 drill holes on the property. There have been very few drill holes that did not have a reportable intercept from the beginning. And we've drilled, Breccia 1, Breccia 5, Breccia 6, Breccia 7, all with really good, grades, and some pipes drilled a lot more than others, but, very strongly mineralized. Then we went to Paloma East, Paloma West. Breccias 3 East and 3 West, very strongly mineralized, but not carrying high grade. So, those are 2 exceptions out of the 10 pipes we drilled so far. Eight of those are strongly mineralized, and that's a great hit right there. And then if you look at our reportable intercepts on drill holes, out of the 152, a very high percentage of those all have at least had reportable intercept, and that's a pretty high standard on this project.
Okay, let's look. If you look at Huancarama and assume the success, like basic success, nothing outrageous, just standard success, what are the next steps after that? Like, will you go back to Paloma East and West? Do you have other pressure pipes?
Yeah.
My goal is to focus you on an end goal. Like, what's the plan? Like,
Right.
where are you going?
Well, the scout drilling is to tell us if we've got a mineralized breccia body that we think can turn into a resource. That's really the goal. And we've talked about this before. The first objective is this breccia pipe mineralized. Is there indication of high grade? Because we know the high grade there's the distribution of high grade is variable within the pipes, and so once you find it, you can track it. And we've demonstrated that multiple times, that we can chase that high grade at depth. And then the third objective is, what's the geometry? Is it something that we think we understand, and is it getting bigger? Is it something that's big enough to define a resource? And so, once you accomplish or finish the scout drilling, then you can answer those questions. Is this going to be infill drilling? And both Paloma East and Paloma West will have infill drilling programs, no doubt. And I also mentioned too that around those 2 breccia bodies, we have this large geophysical anomaly, so that there's a lot more exploration drilling, more scout drilling, if you will, that needs to be done. They're not outcropping breccia pipes, but we already know we have blind breccia pipes on the property. We've already found one with our drilling. So that whole area deserves a lot of additional scout drilling. And then, yeah, you can assume the same thing at Huancarama. We've got outcropping breccia pipes. We're testing the grade. We're looking at the geometry. We're looking for indications of high grade. And assuming that all comes back positive, then Huancarama is you add it to the list of infill drilling there. So we continue to build the list of things that need to be drilled out. Breccia 7, 4 holes in that, that were put into that mineralized. It definitely has a definable shape. There's indications of some high grade, but needs a lot more drilling, right? So we need to go back to Breccia 7, and we really wanted to be in the position where we could pick and choose the pipes that we went and focused the infill drilling, so that we could shape the nature, or kind of guide the resource estimate to be focused on the highest priority and most promising breccia pipes.
Gotcha. And all I hear is, of course, drilling, and all I hear is, okay, it costs money, right? So, and you're an exploration company. It's no big secret. At one point, you'll have to raise money. So my question now is, like, what's your plan on keeping dilution low, right? And you got some big shareholders in. Like, what's the plan there? Because you don't have any warrants outstanding. I just double-checked. I just wanted to make sure. You don't have any warrants outstanding that you could call in for a non-dilutive financing, right? So what are the plans there?
Well, we've got enough to finish this drill program. We're in no rush right now. I mean, we obviously want to get the results out from Huancarama and continue drilling, and we'll be able to do that. Gold Fields is very, very excited about the project, and they've been a great partner since the very beginning. We have regular contact with them and on multiple fronts. Their Peru team. We have a technical panel that meets monthly and reviews the progress of the project, and so they've brought a lot of expertise into the project, and they've been very supportive, and I fully expect it. They will about the potential.
David, you're breaking up.
And
oh, we just had a slight hiccup here. Can you hear me, David?
How's that?
Okay, just an internet. Just
I can hear you.
Okay,
fine,
just say the last part with Goldfields. The last 3 sentences. There was a bit of a internet delay.
Yeah, no, I was just saying that Goldfields is super excited about the project, and I'm sure that they're going to step up to the plate when we do a next financing, and they'll be part of that. So
they're at 17%,
really
so they have a couple percentage points to go before they have to make a takeout offer. So push them to get to 19.9. That's next to 3%, of course. So great. So we talked about that. You get support from the big from Goldfields. Like you mentioned, like what's a working relationship with them? Like do you actually consult with them regularly?
Yeah, we have a technical panel that meets monthly. We call it the technical advisory panel, and we have the agenda for each month is really based on reviewing results from the previous month, and then looking forward at additional studies that we want to do, kind of where the project's going on a technical basis. So that's a very active and dynamic meeting that we have every month with them. They bring in experts on their side. They brought in resource geology. They brought in geophysics. They brought in remote sensing. They brought in, mining engineering. So a number of different disciplines at our disposal, which is, a great benefit for a junior company. We tend to, be fairly small and very focused team, and we have to go out and hire consultants to fill in gaps and stuff like that. So to actually have access to that kind of expertise in the 7th largest gold producer in the world, that's a real advantage for us.
That makes a lot of sense. And let's talk about 2021, of course, is an election year in Peru. And let's talk about, like, what do you expect? Have you seen any changes? Like, what's the process in Peru like now? What's the political landscape? We've seen, unfortunately, and like Regulus had some issues there on the political side, social/political side, because it's been dragged over to the political side. What's the overall landscape? I'm drawing a negative picture here. I'm personally a big fan of Peru, but like what's happening right now?
Well, I think from the big picture, mining is such a big part of Peru's economy, and mining tends to continue, and they know that it's especially now during the pandemic, as a catalyst to restart their economy. So they've been very, very supportive of mining and restarting and getting production back up to its capacity. So I think that support's going to continue to happen. Election years are always, there's lots of activities, lots of different groups vying for interest. We're seeing now lots of protests, particularly from the agriculture agricultural sector. And no doubt they're trying to get their message out before the election and have their voice heard. So I think that we'll continue to see that. I do think that in the end, a pro-mining administration will come through, and I just think it's that important for Peru. And I'm not expecting there to be any change in that, but it'll be interesting to see how this develops. But we're already started with our program in 2021, and we'll continue to work hard and try to deliver results on a consistent basis like we have.
Perfect. And once phase 3 is over, you're permitted to go into phase 4 if you want to. Correct?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we can, like you said, lots of drilling. I do see 2021 is just going to be a lot of drilling, and the question for us on the resource estimate is, when do we cut it off, right? And we've got these new discoveries at Paloma East and Paloma West, and obviously we want those to feature in the resource estimate and results pending for Huancarama. So the real question is, we've committed to getting a resource out in 2021. The timing of that, of course, will come down to the cutoff date, and if we've got new discoveries that need more drilling, then obviously that's the highest priority. And, we can bring that forward by adding additional drill rigs to the project. There's the capacity with our contractor, and there's nothing holding us back. Finances will take care of themselves this year. I'm convinced of that, just based on the results that we've had. So I think it's going to be a really, really good year for us this year.
Paloma East and West and Huancarama, to a degree, do you have enough, or will you have enough data for an inferred resource, or do you have to drill somewhere? Is it enough?
We definitely have to drill some more.
Okay,
yeah.
Gotcha. Perfect. David, we're at our time limit. I think we covered all the topics. We talked about catalysts, the macro landscape in the area, in Peru, your finance situation. Like, those are the notes I had. Like, fantastic. If there's anything else you want to add, please go ahead. But I think we covered it all for 2021 so far. Let's just talk about maybe near-term news flow, if you want to sum that up for us, and then we can break off.
Yeah, I mean, you can expect to see Huancarama results coming out, at a steady pace. Like I said, the lab has slowed down a little bit over the holiday season, and no doubt they had more companies submitting samples and stuff like that. But they've done a great job of getting on top of that in the past, and I expect that they'll continue to do that. So just steady results on Huancarama, and part of the drill program in 2021 will be testing some additional targets. The concept for the resource estimate is take 5 or 6 or 7 breccia pipes in the top 300 meters and show what kind of tonnage and grade we can generate. We know those pipes are open at depth, so we can increase the size of the resource by going underground and drilling deeper. But then we can also increase the resource by finding more mineralized breccia pipes. And we've got 92 targets on the property. There's 23 confirmed breccia pipes. We know we have blind breccia pipes on the project. So the upside potential is absolutely huge, and we just need to continue with a very disciplined target testing program, and then infilling when it's appropriate, and get to that first resource. So that's our goal for 2021.
Awesome. David, thanks so much for recapping 2020 and giving us your outlook for 2021. Really appreciate it. Thanks for joining us again. And everybody else, thanks for dialing in. Oh, by the way, disclaimer, I mentioned Chakana is a client of ours. We obviously own options and shares as well, so full disclaimer here. Follow us on YouTube, follow us on Twitter, give us a like, give us a thumbs up, and hit the subscribe button, hit the follow or the alert button on Twitter. Leave a comment. We want to know how we're doing. We want to know how Chakana is doing. What do you think of the company? What could they do better, or what are they doing well? Let us know, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. David, thanks for joining us. That's it from my end, and we'll be back tomorrow with another interview.
Thanks, Lakai. Appreciate it. Take care.